Derry, Maine, October 1988. Bill Denbrough assists his younger sibling Georgie with making a paper boat, calling it the SS Georgie. Georgie needs to go outside to cruise it in the heavy storm, however, Bill is excessively wiped out to go along with him. The siblings embrace before Georgie heads out to play. Georgie sails his boat down the road. He pursues it and unintentionally runs into a road obstruction. The boat sails to the furthest limit of the road until it falls into the sewer. Georgie rushes to attempt to get it, stressed that Bill will be frantic. As he investigates the sewer, a couple of yellow eyes arise. They have a place with an element calling itself Pennywise the Dancing Clown. Pennywise energetically addresses Georgie prior to offering him his boat back. Georgie goes after it, just for Pennywise to get his arm and sink his huge teeth into it. The animal rips off Georgie's arm and leaves him weeping for Bill prior to hauling him down into the sewers. After 8 months. June 1989. We meet Mike Hanlon as his granddad Leroy is making him kill a sheep with a nailer. Leroy addresses the kid prior to carrying out the thing himself. It's the last day of school. Bill and his companion Richie Tozier, Eddie Kazbrak, and Stanley Uris, who all structure the Losers Club, are going on a mission to begin their late spring. Sadly, they run into the school's psychopathic harasser Henry Bowers and his hooligans Patrick Hochstetter, Victor Chris, and Belch Huggins. Out of the structure, Beverly meets the new youngster, Ben Haskam. He gets singled out for his weight and he has no companions. Bev signs his yearbook, and Ben seems to foster a crush on her. At the point when Bill gets home, his dad Zach scolds him for making a model with tubes of the sewer system in Derry since he still believes that Georgie is just missing. Zach tells him to acknowledge that Georgie is dead. Mike goes to the butcher shop to make a conveyance. Behind the entryway around the back street, he hears what sounds like screaming and beating. The entryway opens and several consumed hands start sticking out. Mike then, at that point, sees Pennywise, however is almost run over by the Bowers gang in a vehicle. Mike flees. Stan is at the synagogue studying for his Jewish rite of passage. There is a painting in the rabbi's office that creeps him out showing a lady with a distorted face. The artwork falls, and when Stan picks it up, the lady is no more. He turns around and it manifests as the lady with a fanged smile. Stan runs away. Ben is at the library looking into Derry's history. From a series of articles, he learns that kids in Derry have been disappearing under mysterious circumstances for a really long time. The book contains a portrayal of Pennywise and a missing kid's head in a tree. Ben is then attracted into the basement where he sees the headless kid prior to getting chased out by Pennywise. Returning, Ben is gone after by the Bowers group. Henry's goons hold Hitsa H before Ben kicks him in the nuts and rolls over the extension and into the woods. The punks chase after Ben. In the interim, the losers are close to the sewers as Bill has persuaded his friends to assist him with tracking down Georgie. Ben falls into the water close to them, and the boys snatch him and carry him to safety. Patrick runs into the sewers to attempt to get Ben, parting from his companions. He experiences devilish-looking kids that make him run, yet he goes over an impasse. A red balloon shows up before him, and generally pops to uncover Pennywise, who speedily gobbles up Patrick. The young men go to the drugstore to get cotton balls and gauzes, however they are in need of cash. Beverly is there purchasing tampons when she runs into the young men. In the wake of hearing their concern, Bev professes to play with the drug specialist, Mr. Keene, to occupy him. He puts on a show of being a creep to her, however she figures out how to occupy him long enough for the young men to take their provisions, and for her to slip away a few cigarettes. Bev heads outside and joins the young men when she sees the young men watching out for Ben. Beverly returns home to her dad, who is a considerably greater creep than Mr. Keene. He goes on to his little girl, making her run into the washroom crying. She then, at that point, continues to trim off her hair until it's at a more limited length. The young men, presently joined by Ben, are at the quarry prepared to bounce into the lake, however nobody is anxious to go first. Bev appears and bounces first, driving the others to join. They have some good times while swimming and hanging out. Afterward, Ben educates everybody what he read concerning in Derry's set of experiences. Eddie is heading back home when he passes the neglected house on Niebolt Road. He is out of nowhere gone after by a leper, making Eddie go through the house's yard. As he arrives at the fence, he sees Pennywise attempting to draw him toward him. Eddie runs under the fence and escapes. Bev is in her room with a postcard with a sonnet composed on it by a mysterious admirer. She believes it's Bill, yet it was actually Ben that composed it. From her washroom, Bev hears the voices of youngsters. She investigates the sink where the voices are, and bunches of hair begins to get her before a wellspring of blood spouts all over the restroom. Mr. Marsh comes in to see Bev sickened, however he can't see the blood. He just remarks that her hair makes her seem to be a boy. Bill is strolling around the house when he sees what resembles Georgie going around. Stunned, he follows Georgie to the cellar, which is flooding. Georgie ventures out and welcomes Bill to go along with him, saying, "We all float down here. You'll float too." He rehashes "you'll float too" until he yells and breaks down. Pennywise then, at that point, rises up out of the water and attempts to get Bill, however he runs out of the storm cellar. The following day, the children are riding their bicycles when they see Mike's bicycle and the Bowers posse's vehicle. They go somewhere around the stream to find the troublemakers badgering Mike for being dark. Bev tosses a stone at Henry's head, which starts a stone-tossing battle between the two gatherings. Mike goes to the loser's side while Vic and Belch take off as Henry is thumped oblivious. As the children leave with Mike, Bill specifies what he found in his home. Eddie upholds him on having seen Pennywise. Mike specifies what he saw and discusses how his old house was burnt down by bigoted thugs, and his folks passed on attempting to separate the way to his room, with their skin being burnt deep down to the bone. Richie is the one in particular that hasn't been haunted, yet he concedes to being unnerved by clowns. The children go to Bill's carport where they investigate a guide of Derry through a projector. They see that the sewers are connected to the Neibolt house, where it stays. The projector then begins working itself, showing pictures of Bill and Georgie with their folks, however with Pennywise's face showing up over their mom. They push the projector over, yet it continues to play until Pennywise completely rises out of the screen and attempts to get the children. They figure out how to escape the carport before he can hurt them. The losers go to the Neibolt house to deal with it directly. Bill, Richie, and Eddie go into the house while the others stay outside as posts. Richie sees a missing banner of himself and he goes ballistic, however Bill reminds him it's not genuine. Eddie gets isolated from his companions when Pennywise tracks him down. He falls through the floor and terrains in the kitchen, breaking his arm. Bill and Richie attempt to contact him through 3 entryways. The main entryway they open uncovers a young lady with half her torso missing. The subsequent entryway traps Richie inside with a room loaded with clown dolls. He sees a casket with a faker of himself in it. He closes it, and Pennywise leaps out. He attempts to go after Richie, yet he runs out of the room. Pennywise returns his consideration regarding Eddie, yet Bill and Richie get to him before the clown eats him. Beverly then, at that point, makes an appearance to drive a lance through Pennywise's head, constraining him to withdraw. Eddie's mother prohibits the losers from spending time with him after she sees his messed up arm. Bill and Richie then, at that point, get into a fight when Richie says this entire quest for Georgie has almost wrecked them. The losers head out in different directions as the other young men are excessively unnerved to continue onward. It's currently August, and the children have kept approaching their lives. Eddie goes to the drugstore to get his asthma medicine, just for Greta, who works behind the counter, to tell him that they are fake treatments. She then states loser on his arm cast. Henry is with Vic and Belch firing things with his father's firearm. He arranges Belch to present to him a feline to shoot, however Officer Bowers makes an appearance to take the weapon from Henry. He then shoots the ground around Henry's feet to embarrass him before his companions and uncover him as a quitter. Afterward, Henry sees a red balloon on his letter box. Inside is a knife, sent by it. He goes inside as his dad is sleeping with the television on. On the screen seems a lady with kids, all encouraging Henry to kill his dad. He does as such by putting the knife in his neck and allowing him to drain out. The children on television, all of its casualties, then begin reciting "Kill them all. Kill them all." At the Marsh house, Beverly's father endeavors to follow up on his desire toward his girl. She wards him off and runs into the restroom. At the point when Mr. Marsh arrives, Bev whacks him across the face with a latrine cover, killing him. Similarly, as she is going to leave, Pennywise tracks her down and takes her. Bill goes by Bev's home and tracks down her dad dead in the washroom, and sees "You'll die if you try" composed on the wall in blood. He understands Bev has been taken by it, so he goes to offer to set things straight with his companions to protect her. At the point when they get Eddie, his mother precludes him from leaving and joining his companions, however he opposes her when he goes up against her over the fake treatments. He discards her and joins his companions. The young men go to the Neibolt house and find a well where it stays. They move down a rope, yet before Mike can head down, Henry appears and goes after him. He begins pulling the rope up to forestall the young men from moving back up. Henry attempts to kill Mike with the nailer that he brought, however Mike fends him off and figures out how to push him down the well, sending him to his evident demise. Going further into the well, Stan is gone after by it, as the lady from the artwork. She crunches on his head, however the young men frighten it, often comfort a terrified Stan. All the young men head further into the well where they track down its den. Every one of the youngsters he's taken are drifting up in the deadlights under a daze of some sort or another. The young men find Bev drifting. They pull her down, and Ben kisses her to break her out of the daze. Bill then, at that point, sees Georgie rise up out of the shadows. Georgie tells Bill he missed him and was sitting tight for him to come for him. Bill embraces his sibling, however he knows it's not actually Georgie, and he shoots him in the head. His body squirms on the ground until he transforms into Pennywise. The clown attempts to kill the children, however they fend him off until he has his hang on Bill. Pennywise gives the others the choice to pass on together, or leave him with simply Bill. Bill advises them to run, yet Richie is quick to retaliate. The children then begin beating up Pennywise until he is weak, unfit to hurt them since they never again dread him. Before Bill can strike the deadly disaster for the clown's breaking skull, Pennywise withdraws into the dimness and in this manner get away. The abducted kids then float descending. Bill then tracks down Georgie's waterproof coat. He understands that Georgie genuinely is gone. Bill separates in tears as his companions accumulate around and embrace him. It is currently September. The losers swear a blood vow to get back to Derry in 27 years. Would it be a good idea for it, at any point return? They hang out for some time until every one of them step by step leaves, with just Bill and Bev stay behind. She will move to Portland now. As she leaves, Bill approaches her and kisses her. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.